For more tips and tricks, don't forget to hit that button and subscribe. Also, ring the bell so you can get notifications anytime I have new videos. Welcome to Paul's Toolbox. I'm Paul Ricalde, and today I'm going to be covering building a shed. I built this shed back here several years back, and it's still going strong. Now I want to build one just behind it. So, what I'm going to do is show you how to do the floor first, because that's the beginning of the whole shed. You have to make sure that everything's done right for your floor, and then the walls, everything else is going to start falling in place. Framing is the most important part, but I'm going to show you some tricks that are really going to help you out. Let's get started. All right, right here is your frame for your floor. This and this, these two are called rim joists. These are floor joists. They go in between my rim joists, okay? That's a front and back rim joist, depending on how you're looking at it. If I take this and my total width is 12 feet, then I can either cut this exactly 12 feet, or if I'm under specs and I have to have it the exact dimension, I will take and subtract the thickness of my sheathing right here. Now this sheathing is right at 3/8 of an inch, so if I take my sheathing on this side and the opposite side, I need to subtract 3/4 of an inch from the total width of this. No big deal, you don't have to do it either way, they both work. But like I said, if you're doing this for yourself, it doesn't matter. If you're doing this under specs and you have to have the total width at 12 feet, then that's what you would do. So now let's say we just want to make this exactly 8 feet from here to here. All I would do is take and subtract 3 inches from my total of 8 feet. So I have 7'9" on this board. Now when I mark them off, I'll take my tape measure, lock it on my full length board, whatever the length is, and I slide my speed square underneath it. Now with this clipped, I can slide this over to 11 1/4, and I'll put an X right here. Slide this over to 23 1/4, and this is a real small board. I have to hold it still. Now when I'm rolling on this, you'll see when I'm actually doing it on the deck, it's super fast. We are going to go 12 inches because I want this floor to be strong, and you can go 12 or 16 inch on center with your floor. So if I want to line this up and I pull it out and I want 12-inch centers, that's my 12-inch mark, right? Well, my problem is I'll have to try to line this up exactly in the center part, and I could be off a little bit. So what you'll do, you take your tape, put it on the end, and you go to 11 1/4 inches right here. Put an X right here, because your stud is going to go right on the side of that. If you take that and you put it right on that 11 1/4 mark, this is the center of your board. You see? Right there, 12 inches is going to be right on my center. So I'm good. What I'll do is I'll pull it further over, and on the next one, 24, I'll go 23 1/4 right here. Now, I can take this square, put my lines on here, and transfer them all the way over. I always do that. I like to make sure that I have a full line on there. Well, if I put my X on the outside of this line, and I do it the same way all the way down, I'm going to be just right. So if you look at your framing square, you see how the thin part of your framing square matches up with the thickness of your stud. So I could drop this back, put it on my line right here, mark it, and now I see where the center of my joist is. When I put this next one over, you will see that from center to center, we're always going to be on the money if you do it this way. 12 inches, center to center. Well, you see how easy that was? Now what we're going to do is get down to a little sheathing. We take this board, this is going to mimic a 4x8 sheet, all right? Just pretend that's 12 feet long by 8. This is 24 inches wide. You can see it's going to fall right in the center of my board. My floor joist right here is falling right, so my next sheet will go on there, and they split this. You scoot it over, and it's still going to fall just right again. You don't have any problems. Everything's going to fall in line. Your last piece, you will tack it on here, pop a line, and cut that off. So let's go ahead first and screw this down real quick. Once I have these in, I can run one more here to lock it, and I can pull my whole frame over. If it's a tiny bit off. I'll pull it, and you can force this thing to go either way. This whole thing will move. You force it to where this goes just right on there, on that end, and you run a screw right there. Now we're square. And you can run one over here, and this locks everything together. So my next sheet will go right up against this, and it's gonna fall exactly in place, everything's square, and then I'd run my screws in here. Now all you have to do is pop a line right here. It's a little bit in. Put some glasses on and we'll cut this. I set my depth, the same thickness as this. If it goes a little deeper and goes into that 2x, it doesn't matter. It's not gonna hurt anything. You see how I'm just on the inside? This is about a little more, it's about 3/16 of an inch, okay? But that's fine. Even a 1/4 inch would be fine. You just want to be on the inside of this. You don't want to protrude past it, because if you're out, just say I'm out 1/8 of an inch right here, and I have an 8-foot wall, I'm gonna be a whole inch out at the top. It's gonna kick out. So you want to be right here where it's flush. It can go flush. And when I put my base plate on here for my walls, they're gonna sit right on the edge right here, and my sheathing goes up against there, and that tiny little gap is nothing. You won't even know it's there. Is this starting to make sense? I like to use 3/4 inch treated plywood for my floor. This is all treated for your floor. After that, you can come back over with OSB or 1/2 inch plywood, what have you. You can just measure this off 12 inches all the way down, pop your lines or mark your lines, and that way you know exactly where everything is, and you run your nails. I'm not gonna tell you how to do your floor or what materials to use, but I'm gonna tell you what I use. I always use 3/4 inch plywood for my floor. Treated, all right, always treated. And then I'll go back over it with an OSB board. And I don't run them the same way. If I run my lengths, like just say this is 8 foot, remember? 8 foot by 12 foot. If I run these 8 foot this way, I'm gonna run my other ones 8 foot this way. But make sure you come from the same side so you're following right on your floor joists. See, if you run this 8 foot, it's gonna fall right on your floor joist on this side. The same way, it's just in a different spot. So you don't have your seams in the same spot. You don't want to have cracks in the same spot that go all the way to the ground. You want to have them covered. That's why I lap my boards different ways. And as I said earlier, you put your last board over and you cut that one. You let it run over and you just cut it. Pop a line and cut it. Simple stuff. Now let's see how we do the foundation. Just behind me, I laid this on the ground, and this is exactly how I'm doing it. I laid out cinder blocks though, not just little pavers. I want to keep this off the ground. I don't want mud touching my wood where termites can get in it. Treated wood is great, but I still don't like to have treated wood touching the ground. I'd rather have some blocks. So we have these blocks here, and I put limestone under it, and I pack it down. I use a tamper. This is a tamper, weighs a few pounds, and you can beat things down. It does a great job. You can take your limestone, set it down there, or if you don't have limestone, you can pack your ground. These are stakes for concrete. They have holes in various spots, going this way and this way. So the great thing about it is, I can take this and run string lines across. This is made for wire. This is a concrete stake. I will take these stakes and drive them straight in the ground, right on the outside of where my frame's gonna be. Your string line goes straight across here to the other one. You pull it tight, you put a string level on there. I try to get even with my frame right here. Sometimes I'll go even with the cinder block. It really doesn't matter. You wanna make sure you have this as even as possible, or as level as possible. If you're off just a tiny bit, don't worry. I have a shortcut for that too. I take my blocks and I put them on the corners. I don't let them stick out past the sides because my siding might go down past that, and I don't want to have this sticking out. So I'll put it close to the edge, maybe a little bit on the inside of it. Another reason is sometimes I like to put a skirt later down the line, and you can't do that if you have these blocks on here and you have a whole shed on top of it. I'm going to take and shim this up a little bit, and what I use is shingles. You're going to have roofing shingles because you've got to put a roof on here. If you don't, it's very inexpensive to go buy a couple of sample shingles. All you do is take these and you cut them from the back side, and you cut them in strips. Now these strips right here will act as great shims. They never rot, they don't attract termites, and they don't compress. So they make awesome shims for outdoor stuff like this. You just take it and put it in one of your corners that's low, and we'll raise it up. So we're not quite there. We'll go one more shingle, lift it up, slip it right up under there. This is what I do when I'm building my shed. Now, I'm nice and level. Everything's set on there. This is not going to compress. It's not going to go anywhere. So we're good. Okay, this is real important. You have to have something down the center of this to give it strength. Now, if I take a 4x4 and run across here, a 4x4 here, and a 4x4 here, treated, always treated. You don't want it touching the ground. You put it on top of a little block like this or 2 blocks like this. That would be fine. And then you go from there. It's going to raise you up off the ground, but it's good. Also, I like to have limestone underneath here so water washes away and drains. Whatever water gets under here is going to drain, and it's going to stop a lot of water from just seeping up underneath your shed and keeping low spots under your shed where it'll be wet all the time. I use cinder blocks down the line on this, and I put my cinder blocks flat where the real strength of a cinder block is straight up and down where the holes are facing up, but that shed is not going to be nearly enough heavy enough to cause any kind of problem. So I went flat. That way it gave me a better flat surface for everything on the ground where it wouldn't sink. All right, we are ready. Here's something real important. When you're laying out your wood, whether it's for your roof trusses, for your rafters, for your floor joists, anything, you always want that crown side up. You take it and you stick your eye right on the edge and you look at it. If it comes up a little bit and goes down, the top is the crown. So let it arch up a little bit. You want to have as straight a wood as you can get, but you always want to have, if you have an arch, you want the arch up. That means the crown's up. When you put weight on it, it can spring down and still be strong. The other way, it'll dip, it'll belly. You start it off, I'll put my knee on it, make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Once you tap it and start it, it's easy street. Since this is only an 8x12, I can pick it up myself and put little shims under it. And that's all I did. I just pick it up a little bit, slide my shims under it, and shim it up just a tiny bit, just fine tune it. The good thing about gravel like this is if water does get in here, it's going to seep down. It's not going to sit. Alright, it's racked a little bit. This is going to straighten it out. I'll put a nail there, we're going to pull it. Perfect. Looking good. I'm going to pop a few nails here. We're going to drop the other sheet, start walking it down, then we'll come back. Storm's coming. We're ready to put our other sheets on here. These are running vertically from me. So I'm going to run the other sheets horizontal because I don't want to have these seams in the same spot. And there's 3 sheets and there's 3 sheets on the other. So if I do drop it this way before 8, I'd still follow on the seam. I'm going to take that one and split it down the middle. And then we'll just cut the ends. And what ends get cut off on that side, we flip over to this side. Take this, I'll set it right on the edge. Okay guys, don't forget to subscribe so you can check out my future videos. I'm going to be covering step by step everything on this, and I'm going to try to break it down like this so you can understand each step. I don't want you to be making mistakes like I made years ago. Check me out on the American Builder Show. I'm on Action TV, and we're going to be on Tough TV real soon. You can check the schedule out. They already have it up, but we're just not on air yet on Tough TV. Coming real soon. This is October, and it should be by the end of this month. Let's cross our fingers. So if you guys don't mind, please hit like, drop a comment, and I'll see you guys later.